Rules might be just the opposite of what you do at home. I'm not here to judge. I'm only here to tell you what is proper. Because I can assure you, especially rooted group, you will be judged in life by the world. What you say, how you act, and what type of manners you have or do not have, you will be judged. The Bible is very clear that God is only concerned about your inner being, what's in your heart. But unfortunately, we are in the world, not of the world, so we will be judged. Let's talk a little bit about the history of tea. Often the phrase afternoon tea and high tea are used interchangeably, but that is incorrect. We are here today for afternoon tea. Afternoon tea consists of 3 courses, which we will be enjoying. We will be having a light sandwich, we will be having a scone, and we'll be having a sweet, as well as enjoying our tea. That is the definition of afternoon tea. The definition of high tea is oftentimes used incorrectly. You may even see advertisements on the internet or something of that sort where they talk about high tea. They use the word high because they think it adds a little bit of posh to the tea. But in reality, high tea is not posh at all. In England, the workers, who of course have to, they can't have the opportunity of having an afternoon tea because they have to work for a living. It's not until they get home after work that they enjoy what is called high tea. And the reason for it being called high tea is because they sit at a dining room table with high-backed chairs, and it is an extremely substantial meal, like our evening meal that we call dinner or supper, depending upon what part of the country you're from. So when someone says high tea to make it look like it's pretty fancy, it's not. So the afternoon tea is much nicer. So the world began to learn about China's tea secret in the early 1600s when the Dutch traders started importing a lot of tea to Europe. And it appeared as though the wife of King Charles II is the lady that we have to be very grateful for, starting the idea of having afternoon tea. She was from Portugal, and her name was Catherine of Barganza. And the Portuguese court would have an afternoon tea, and she was hoping to start the same custom in England, and she was very successful. When tea first came into England, it was kind of a novelty at the coffee bars in London. But as time went on, it became more and more popular. The wealthy in England eat breakfast at 8 o'clock, a light lunch, and then they don't eat dinner until 8 p.m. Well, noon to 8 p.m., that's a long break without any food. So the idea was, we'll start afternoon tea. And obviously the working people never had the opportunity to have a break of that sort. So they have their afternoon tea oftentimes on holidays or special events. And by the 18th century, the popularity had grown so much that all the people of all backgrounds wanted tea. So the smugglers decided that they would bring in some illegal tea and make a profit. But the tax was 119% for the regular people.